Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free with true solutions to heal for real from narcissistic abuse and painful relationship patterns. And more than just information to survive, you are granted the tools to thrive. In today's episode, I'm going to help you understand why narcissists are seldom single, how they still may be playing with you, manipulating you, and hedging their bets with other romantic interests, and how to get past the excruciating pain of being discarded and replaced. But just before we get into all that juicy information, I'd like to remind you to hit the subscriber button if you haven't already. Okay, so let's get started on this. So the first thing I want to talk about is, why do narcissists always get new supply? Why can't they be single? There's a really deep truth here, and I've said it lots of times. A narcissist will usually move on in the time that it takes to boil an egg. Narcissists hate being alone. They need the constant energy of somebody else to mirror back to them their significance. And I want you to understand it like this. A narcissist does not have an inner self that is self-supporting and self-generating. It's like an empty black hole inside. And narcissists need to affect people around them for good or bad. It makes no difference. They need to get energy in order to be able to prop up their false self, to literally emotionally know that they exist. I want you to think about it like this. A vampire, the myth of vampires is so about narcissism. The correlations are incredible. Vampires need energy, the blood life force of others. They need to suck energy to be able to be alive, because they're not alive. Narcissists are the same. If they don't have a supply that they can bounce off and suck energy, or their stuff, or their resources, or sex, or their money, or their contacts, or whatever it is, well, then they don't feel alive. They feel dead on the inside. Narcissists are not good at being alone. And you have to understand, people are an energy source. They're food. They're objects from which they get narcissistic supply from. So what this means is, even if a relationship, and it doesn't matter whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or even a family enmeshment, if this starts to get shaky, okay, if this source of supply can't be controlled anymore, or is losing too much energy and being destroyed, and there's nothing left to suck, or it looks like this source of supply is going to jump ship, a narcissist will start getting replacements set up. That's how it works. So they've got other sources of supply set up, and they're ready to jump ship because they cannot go without an energy source. So now this brings me to the next point, which is how a narcissist can keep you on the hook. Narcissists cheat, lie, and triangulate with new sources of supply and with you. So what they're doing is they're setting up a source of supply on the side whilst retaining you, or being greedy and having both. I want you to think drug addict. I want you to think drug addict. What does a drug addict do? A drug addict will set up sources of supply and make sure that one of them's not going to dry out, so that they can get their drug. And this is not about love. This is not about missing you. This is about getting low on narcissistic supply. And triangulation, how it works is, they may have sources of supply set up, and they're lying to them about you, and they're lying to you about them. Or they're pitting you or them against each other, so nobody will know what's going on. Now, I know you may find this to be horrific information, and it's so painful when you start to awaken and start to understand the truth that somebody could be lying to you, could be doing this behind your back. And the thing is, I really do believe that deep down inside, we all feel like this and we feel like something's not right. And I want you to know that I deeply understand what this is like, because I've personally experienced the triangulation and the lies and the other supplies that are set up on the side. And it's devastating when it comes to light and you find out the truth. But and I've seen this happen with thousands and thousands of people in my community. One thing that I really want you to understand, whatever the narcissist delivers to you is usually the exact thing that is going to hurt you the most, because that's where they get supply from. And this is an energetic war that you are in with a narcissist. Your fear and pain, regardless of whether you're still physically in contact, I promise you, he or her is feeding off that. We're all energetically connected. It's very important to understand that. Which brings me to this point, which is how to recover from being discarded and replaced. And as I just described to you, what is going to come up for you and what's going to hurt the most is exactly your deepest, darkest primal fears. And these can be things like, if I'm replaced, I am going to die. If I am left, I'm going to die. If I'm being cheated on, I'm going to die. These are horrible, horrible, horrible primal wounds, and they can happen for both men and women, because this happens to men and women. And this can also be through a friendship that you're feeling such abandonment or replacement. It could be through a family member. It could be through a business partner. Narcissists do not have to just be intimate partners. So this is what we know, and I want you to understand very, very quickly, is whatever comes up for you is going to be your greatest wound. This is what the narcissist instinctually triggers with their behavior. Now, what's the reason for this? This is another thing that if you can really embrace this and really start to get this at an early stage, it's going to help you so much. The thing that is triggered off for you is the thing you need to heal the most. And that's what the Thriver Way to Recover is all about. And my heart goes out to you, because being abandoned and or replaced is some of the deepest wounds that we would ever need to heal. Now, what's great is if you can hold this and face this and turn inwards to do the work on the exact thing that's been triggered for you. This, I promise you, the pain, the obsessing of this torture is going to start melting away for you, which means that you are going to come into an even deeper power within yourself, a deeper force of light and authenticity and truth. And what happens for all of us when we evolve beyond the trauma and devastation of our old wounds is the people that represent them, you're going to lose your attraction to them. You're going to know that this isn't for you. You're going to know your deservedness. I deserve better than that. It's when you're in that trauma, it's very hard to embody that and live your life like that. But when you heal beyond the trauma and you graduate into a more authentic, self-loving, empowered self, you will look at that person that used to deliver that stuff and you go, oh, yuck. Oh my God, what was I thinking? How was I feeling? And I know it's hard to imagine that when you're in this pain, but I promise you, back then, before I knew how to turn inwards and heal, I was exactly probably how you're feeling right now. Stuck in the obsession, questioning myself, what's wrong with me? Aren't I good enough? And just going down the rabbit hole of trying to work out what the narcissist was doing, who he was with, were they actually having a better relationship, and all of those things, which just kept me stuck in the trauma. And since I discovered that this really is a spiritual call to heal those things within me that are not healed yet, and I've been able to help thousands of other people relieve themselves of that and graduate into a more whole, solid, self-loving, self-deserving center, myself and so many others have gone forth into relationships that match that wholeness instead of narcissistic relationships. So I really hope that this has given you some hope that you can get out of this torture. And what I would love to do is help you understand what you've been hooked up in, what it actually means, how narcissistic it is, and also grant you some tools, some free tools that you can start getting some clarity, answers, and relief with. So the way that I want to offer that to you today is with my free quiz, which is 11 questions that are only going to take you a couple of minutes to answer. And then that's going to be backed up with the resources, which are free for 7 days, specific to what you're going through. So I really hope that this can help, and today's helped. And as always, I love answering your comments and your questions. Please like and share this video if you found it helpful. And until the next one, I just want you to really know, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.